Okay. All right, the long-awaited power management keybinding setup. Probably one of the most questions I'm asked. I'm going to give you guys a quick run through of how it works. So within Joystick Gremlin, in order to make this work, you have to have that installed. There's lots of great videos on how to set it up. I'm not going to run you through that. There'll be links in the Starfighter Academy on how to kind of run through everything. On my side, I was looking for a way to automate power management and remove that conscious thought process of when you're in dogfighting. Instead of having to manually assign it, thrusters, guns, thrusters, shields, thrusters, guns, back and forth, and potentially missing that or fucking it up, you can set it up with some macros. So essentially how I have it set up is on the joystick, my joysticks, we're going to be here. There's 3 stages to the trigger. There's stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. So I have stage 1 for fire main guns, stage 2 fire secondary guns, and then I have a 3rd stage that I can choose to depress or not in there. So when I do depress my 3rd stage, on press after a slight delay, it then fires off power to thrusters, and then release is also an action for Joystick Gremlin. So then on release, it automatically puts power back into guns. Once my guns are back up, pull them back in. After the extra little shots are done, power into thrusters. And then I'm still holding in that button, and then whenever I release my shots, power back in. If I want power into shields, I also have a modifier. I use my pinky lever on my left stick because that's easy and that finger is free whenever we're dogfighting. If that button is held in, when I pull it, it then defaults into shields. So my only conscious thought of power management is during this volley of fire, do I want power into shields or power into thrusters? If I want to sit in power into shields and kind of just whittle them down without firing off the macro back and forth, I can just not pull into that 3rd stage. Also on my left stick for my boost, my left trigger's boost, I have it also set up to, if I want to make sure I have put power into thrusters whenever I boost, I can pull it to the 3rd stage on my left trigger, which will automatically put power into thrusters, which gives you more time under thrust, and then on release, power back into guns. Just quick little things to help set that up and help you with your power management, so you don't have to think about it as much, so you can focus more on positioning and landing your shots and that kind of stuff. So we're going to jump over into Joystick Gremlin so you can see how it works. This left side shows what buttons are activated and which ones aren't. So on my right stick, if I fire my guns, you can see button 30 goes off, and then on release, so 8, 9, and 10 are my power management on my hat. So 8, 9, and 10 are power to guns, power to shields, and power to thrusters. So when I pull, you can see button 10 gets fired off for half a second, and then whenever I release, button 8. And then if I want power into shields, I hold my pinky lever in here, which is 31. On pull, then it hits button 9, and then on release, it hits button 8, which is power back into thrusters. You can see on the bottom there how it's bumping in. On my right stick, button 4 is that 3rd stage. There's several conditions in here. So a condition of if button is pressed or released. So if this first one is to reset back into guns. So you're just going to go in here and you're going to add a macro, hit add, and then in the conditions for it, you're going to require all these conditions to be met. It is a keyboard condition. You're going to add it. So if this virtual button is released, is the condition. So if this button is released, what is it going to do? It's going to press button 8, which is power back into guns. You need a little pause for Star Citizen to detect the button press. If it's back to back immediately with no pause, it sometimes won't detect it. A little bit of pause and then release. So it's simulating whenever I release button my 3rd stage on my right stick, it puts power back into guns. These other ones, same thing. You're going to action requires all of these to be met. What conditions to be met? Is this button pressed? Yes. It also is activate if outside and inside. These are my left pinky little slider. So if it's outside this variable, meaning it's not held in, activate this, which is after 0.2 second delay. Press button 9. Button 9 is power into thrusters with the pause and then release. And then if it is pressed, if it's inside those, then it's going to hit button 10, which is power into shields. That's the bread and butter. And then I did the same thing for my left stick, button 4. If the condition is pressed, power into thrusters. If it is released, power back into guns. Hope this is helpful. You guys can play with it. and it really helps kind of automate that power management, so you don't have to worry about forgetting to put it in there. Your only conscious thought when you're fighting is, do I want shields? If I want shields, I hold my pinky down. If I don't do anything. I just fire. You should be defaulting power into thrusters primarily, unless you can get your shields back or you're about to trade. It's a little bit more to strategy stuff. Hope this is helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions. See you guys in the academy.